Mr. Kittel, welcome to our show. Thank you for being part of our program. How can you estimate the progress and implementation of your program in North Macedonia so far?
I would say that our programs are progressing well. They are implemented by member states, so our programs actually are always co-managed by North Macedonia and a member state. So being Greece, Bulgaria, those are the main member states partnering, let's say, the implementation of those programs for the time being. We have as well, we call them transnational programs, where we have several countries cooperating. So North Macedonia has joined a program that we call IPA Adrian, which is hosted by Italy. But that's a new one, so that's I cannot comment because now it will come only now, so we will see the results. So for the two programs, Greece, North Macedonia, and Bulgaria, North Macedonia, I would say the implementation is progressing very well. We're happy, obviously it's also thanks to the member states because they are hosting the institutions implementing those programs. The results, I think, are also positive because we have indicators so we can really measure the impact of our programs. Those programs are relatively small compared to IPA 3, so the programs that NGO people know. They are more focused on what we call cooperation, so it's to create really links between people on both sides of the border. In this case, it's on a non-member state and a member state, so that's very important.
So what's the most positive thing? You think this contacts between people or on the state level maybe?
I think we say that's first for North Macedonia, the first time that they can implement a program under what we say shared management. So that's actually the implementation that we are using in the EU. So it's really a first try for North Macedonia in a way to work as a member state. So that's probably the most valuable experience because that prepared North Macedonia one day to become a member state to implement the funds differently than what you are used to with the delegation controlling the way the work is done. Here, under shared management, actually the responsibility is really...
We are more independent.
Exactly. You are much more autonomous. You have obviously responsibility. If things go wrong, then you are subject to what we call financial corrections. So, but nonetheless, you have much more autonomy. And that's for us a way also to test your authorities to see if they have this capacity to work independently. So in that respect, this is extremely valuable. Then we have interesting projects. For Greece, North Macedonia, for instance, we are now working on, again, I would say essentially the Greeks, because I don't want to take the merit of the member state, but on the border point between Greece and North Macedonia in Ohrid, in the Prespa area. I'm sorry for this, which is very symbolic, obviously. It's
because of the agreement and...
Because of the agreement, because there are in reality a lot of agreements behind the agreement, also in terms of water resources, and there are different things that really we are trying to handle. And also because it seems to be an important crossing point for the region, for the development of the region. Obviously, we want to make this sustainable. That's very important for us to protect the environment, so it's also not to create too high traffic. So there are different parameters that we are handling in Brussels, so we are helped by other DGs like DG Environment, DG Climat. So they're also analyzing, let's say, the way the projects are implemented. But really, we think this is really for the benefit of the people, the citizens.
Yes, you've mentioned capacity of authorities and of the country. How important is that, and where do you see the biggest challenges of the capacity of the public service here? Maybe you have some recommendations also for our authorities.
But it's obviously a challenge, very clearly. It's a challenge for any country acceding, let's say. It was a challenge for Croatia, and it is a challenge, obviously, for North Macedonia. I would not say that I can give really, you see, recommendations, but
maybe point out some weaknesses.
There are some work. But first, obviously, there is a necessity to retain the people in the administration, to, let's say, to depoliticize also certain roles. We need people with a solid background.
Professionals.
Professionals selected on their merit. We need to reward them also for the work that they are performing, probably better than it is the case now. But again, this is, we understand perfectly, a domestic decision. But
it's part of a bigger reform of the public sector
absolutely.
In general.
But this is certainly essential. I mean, this will pave the way for the accession. I mean, without resources, without people able to support the process, it will be difficult or very long.
Yes. For North Macedonia and Albania, now with the opening of accession talks, for North Macedonia, the first phase of opening and the screening process is going on. So, are you supporting this process in a way, and how do you do that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is, this accession process is divided in chapters. So we are in charge of one chapter that we call Chapter 22. And obviously we are supporting all the countries to get prepared for in that context. So we have regular meetings with the different officials. And we try to develop together a kind of roadmap on the things to be done. It's a long process, let us be very clear, especially for cohesion policy. We are not talking just about, let's say, improving a few structures. We need also a real involvement of the banking sector. We need also the involvement of the university. So, I mean, there is really an ecosystem that we need to create. It takes a certain amount of time, but that's something I would say normal. There's no reason to be afraid. And we think that nonetheless, before even the accession day, there will be already a lot of benefits from those reforms, let's say.
You said you cannot talk much about the new program because it's going to be soon.
Actually, they have just been launched, you see. So
what's the novelty? What's new in this new program?
Yeah, so North Macedonia first given access to additional programs. One is IPA, so it's a program covering the whole region, plus 4 member states and San Marino. The 4 member states are Italy, Greece, Slovenia, Croatia, then Western Balkans.
So it's a wider region.
It's a wider, so that gives the opportunity for applicants also to work with partners from those countries. So that can be interesting. There is another program which is also interesting and new, which is called URBACT, and that program is for the cities. So it's for cities to cooperate. So it would be, for instance, for Skopje or Bitola, or I don't know, to have a project with Paris, Dublin.
On that level.
Yeah,
so
and really to work on very concrete issues. For instance, the management of solid wastes, the management of the traffic in the town, the any type of, let's say, issue you might face in the city, then you can cooperate with your peers in Europe, which might have faced those problems already, and then they can share with you, you see, solutions. Yes. So it's really an exchange of...
Citizens can benefit from this type
absolutely, we are convinced it's first, in a way, cheap, because it's essentially based on the human capital, but it's also immediately effective, because those are really I would say ready-made solutions that we want the cities to share among themselves.
Now, my last question will be about this project and the seminar you're having today here. Yeah. How important is to include young people from the region?
But it's essential. I mean, we know that there is first this challenge of brain drain that we are facing in the region, so we have to find ways to retain the people, to convince them also to come back. We think also that through the digitalization, maybe there are new ways to keep them in the region, because through the digitalization now you can work in reality with partners everywhere in the world almost. That's at least maybe a good thing that the COVID has brought to us. This, and I don't think we will come back. You see, this is really a new way of working and thinking. That means that we have also to re-envisage the spatial planning of the cities, because now that means maybe it's not yet here, let's say, a usual practice, but to work 2 days at the office and 3 days at home. That means that then you don't need to live in Skopje, you can live even in Štip, you see, and elsewhere you see, and you have to drive only 2 days a week. So meaning also that thanks to that you are settling in cities which maybe need more people, you see, more younger people. So they are really, you see, this digitalization that we observe with the COVID for us might be a real game changer. But that's something that we have obviously to consider carefully. So there are also, let's say, bad sides to this. So that's, let's say, a challenge. There is obviously the Green Deal, which is also an issue, and where we think that young people have really a role to play. Because they have to, we have all to understand, but it's probably easier for them than for us.
Yes,
I mean, the older ones
seem to care more than the older generation about this.
In a way, that's very encouraging. I would say that but indeed, we think that we really need to change the way of living. I mean, this calls for really very deep changes, and obviously young people should be big contributors to those changes. So we count on them very much, and clearly this event and CDI, you see, in all the activities that CDIs can perform in the regions are very useful, you see, because we have also to change the mindset, let's say. So there is also, it's not only to implement hard projects, it's also to prepare the people for those.
And also help them connect and share problems that they're having.
Exactly, and to understand we have all the same challenges, you see, so that's why it's so important to cooperate.
Thank you very much for your time and for the interview.
Thank you.